You're listening to DraftKings Network.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Bleacher Report. How do you follow sports? From college football to the NBA, Bleacher Report brings you the latest news, live scores, and epic highlights from your favorite leagues, teams, and athletes, all in one app. Dive into exclusive shows hosted by your favorite athletes and original Bleacher Report series with breaking news, rumors, and predictions all season long. Download Bleacher Report to personalize your coverage.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Castles are surprisingly affordable.
There are a shit ton in Ireland.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to not see a castle when you just look out your window.
It's wonderful. And so many of them are, like, destroyed. But I think there must be, like, a law, like you can't knock down the remnant of an old castle or something. It's great.
They're all over Europe, too, because my in-laws were in Spain, and they'll be driving in Spain, and there's like 8 castles that are just abandoned. There's nothing there.
The reason that I say it's affordable is if you go with 12 people and you split the cost, you can handle whatever it is that you think is an unaffordable castle situation. Now, I don't know where Greg Cote was staying. Why are you shaking your head at me, Chris?
I just don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You didn't have the entire castle. I would assume it's like a regular hotel that there are a bunch of rooms.
It's a castle hotel, they call it. It's transformed.
Dan would rent out the entire hotel.
It's a little bit of a boutique hotel in that I think there were 44 rooms.
And Dan would be like, they're all mine.
Can it be a boutique and a castle? I feel like those two things are kind of the opposite. I don't think both of those things can be the same thing, can they? A boutique is just, I understand what you're saying. It's intimate, but I also think a boutique is kind of small. A castle's never small.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Not all castles are big.
Yeah.
Really?
Enchanted Castle.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. White Castle at Le Batard Show. Are all castles big?
Yeah, the mini sliders.
Love White Castle.
Or no?
Heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
You need to upgrade your heaven. I'm not saying White Castle's bad.
Dan, you ever had 100 White Castle burgers?
Like at 2 a.m.?
Look at
really
me.
good.
Look at me. Do you think I can have 100?
Come on,
yes,
you've been close to heaven.
Yes, of course, but no, that's not heaven. Come on, you need to have you need to do better on heaven if you're thinking that White Castle is heaven. Come on, a little bit better.
The best is when you have the one at your house in the microwave and you bite into it and it's still cold in the middle.
I want to cover a handful of different things from Greg Cote's vacation. How annoying was Erlene about your driving? Because I started the show this way yesterday because I'm a little bit surprised that they were able to get the power away from Joe Biden in a political climate where it seems like people are only interested in power when, as I said, I've had some trouble taking any power from my father at his age. You are about to turn 70 years old. If I were your wife, I also wouldn't trust how generally flippant and reckless you are about thinking that your judgment is better than it is.
Yeah, it's good judgment.
It's not good judgment. It's not. And I don't blame her for not trusting you driving, and you wrecked a rental car.
I'm a good bad driver.
Yeah.
In other words, you violently scrape a stone wall, and yet you don't lose control. You never have the feeling that you're going to swerve. You're not going to hit anybody head on. You're not going to rebound back into the wall. You're going to go about your merry way. Balling the jack to Galway is a beautiful thing. Eventually, we pull over and we look at the damage. My wife's shaking her head like a bobblehead the whole time.
They usually go up and down. I guess they can go
from side to side.
So you sideswiped a wall and you just kept driving?
Yeah, there's the famine wall.
That's the one?
Well, that wasn't the exact one. Most of them aren't that big. People know from history the story behind the famine wall, right? In the potato famine of the 1840s, which caused 5 million Irish people to move to the United States. The ones that didn't move were left behind in poverty to earn pennies a day by creating all of these jagged, ragged stone walls that line the countryside of Ireland. And the problem is they're all right next to narrow roads. And so, if somebody swerves to avoid a head-on collision, you literally have to scrape a famine wall.
Is that what happened to you?
That's exactly what happened to me.
Someone swerved at you, or you just hit the wall?
I just hit the wall. It seemed like they were swerving.
There's a potato famine monument in New York City in Battery Park. If you're in New York, you can go check it out and see what Greg's talking about.
Yep.
It is a monument to people that died during the potato famine, and they have a whole wall constructed with native plants to Ireland. It's very interesting.
And Ireland now, as a nation, is obsessed with potatoes. Like
Aren't we all?
On every menu, you see some sort of a featured potato dish.
I think there should be potatoes on every
Can that
menu.
be my heaven on earth?
If I were running a political campaign, I'd put potatoes on every menu.
Yeah. Potato. All right.
What? Greg,
As
Greg,
my nana, Nellie Doogie, used to say, she didn't pronounce it potato. For some reason, she said potato. And that's always stuck with me.
Chris, I'm a little worried, okay? Because today has been amazing for a number of different reasons. But one of them is your father underestimates how hard it is to get back on this. His stamina's gone. He's gone. He's not with us anymore. He's not making sense. It's like badeda. And he's just tired.
Exactly.
And he's gonna reel into traffic at the end of this because we're taking advantage of an old man. And
Potato.
He's a writer, Dan.
Thank you, Billy.
You're feeling this, Chris, right? The fact that your dad, 1 out of every 6 or 7 things he's saying isn't meant for air, isn't with him remembering he's on air. It's taking advantage of an old person.
I was cooking with him. I was right there with him up until the badada. Then I got really
It just
annoyed.
reminded me,
Badada.
fond memory of my nana, Nellie Doogie.
Ah, Nelly?
Yeah.
Mine's a beautiful thing, huh? How sometimes it just brings back memories and you never know when they're
Yes.
going to come and go.
Yes, she was the one. I've also mentioned she cooked in 100-year-old oil. She never threw out oil. Might have been lard. Lard was big back then.
Yeah.
But she never,
Goose fat. That's what my great aunt cooked with.
There you go. Yeah, but you can strain that. You can cook 100-year-old oil. I never do that. Like, oil costs more than the turkey, right? So I deep fry a turkey. I spend $50, $60 on oil. You use it once, then you throw it out. The bird costs a third of that.
Where do you
It's crazy.
throw oil?
That's a good question.
I want to get back to
Down the sink.
Yeah.
You do it every year. Where do you? I'm asking you.
Down the sink, down toilets.
You can't put it down any of those
Ooh,
things.
you
I
got
know.
a fatberg
See,
brewing down there.
I disagree with that, though. Okay, and
Do
here's
you?
why. It cleans the gullet of the toilet.
Not sure if that's true.
I believe it does. It's always worked for me.
Let's look it
I
up.
don't have stuffed up toilets.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju at Batard show. Does hot oil clean the gullet of the toilet?
No, it's cold by then.
Yeah, we have to do it
You let it cool
responsibly.
off.
Right.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah, you have to.
used cooking oil
Right.
clean?
Does hot used
Not
cooking
hot.
oil clean the gullet of the toilet?
Earl does. That's
What
for sure.
What happened to Nellie's oil?
When she died?
Yeah.
I don't know. That she died around the time. I barely remember her, to be honest, because she died around the time of Beatlemania, like 64, 65.
So you just forgot
Chris,
everything about
Chris.
Nellie
He was
because of the Beatles?
distracted.
She died of diabetes, but back then they all called it sugar diabetes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, my Grammy called it the sugars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Mine called it sugar diabetes.
I'm learning a lot today.
To this day, if I'm referring to diabetes in front of your mother, I say the phrase sugar diabetes because it drives her nuts. She corrects me every single time.
I would love to
It's
go
not
on
sugar
vacation with you
diabetes.
two.
Crazy time, huh? Beatlemania, the sugars, potato famine. A lot going on in the world.
Yankee, yeah.
Your wife was pretty frustrated with you on this trip. I can't imagine her getting concentrated old man bickering, Cote, forgetting the passports, having to drive on. Like,
That was so annoying.
She actually took a victory lap on how she handled him losing the passport. She's like, I handled that well.
Well,
you drove 100 miles before realizing, like just through countryside?
Yes, it
This is
was-
before or after you've gotten into the accident and before or after you've locked yourself in the castle?
before both. But I'm going to tell you this, and I tried to explain this to her. I had to be very, very careful Anybody in a relationship knows that if you're telling your partner something that might not hit the right way, you got to be very, very careful.
How did you say it?
I explained to her that there's a little bit of a pie chart going on here in terms of whose responsibility it was.
Blamed her for...
No. What I
pie
said,
chart.
What I said was, it's my briefcase. It's totally on me that I left it in the rental car we had to turn back in. On the other hand, you might have said, "You sure? Where's your brief? Are you sure you got the briefcase? Did you check that? I'm going to look back." And she didn't do that. So yes, it's my fault, but a little slice of the pie.
What's it reading? The pie chart, Greg. What's it reading?
I'm going to take 80-20.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
You travel with a briefcase, huh?
Well, it's not a briefcase. I say briefcase. It's one of those. There it is, right there. It's one of those satchels.
That helps the audience.
Yeah,
There it
I
is
couldn't
right
quite
there.
see
Lift it up. Lift it up.
Yeah.
It's next to his shoe.
Grabbing the
He's
bag
getting
now.
the bag now.
Yeah, your
It's a
father's.
briefcase.
It's like a laptop bag.
I think it's like a briefcase.
It's a laptop bag. That's exactly what it
It's a
is.
businessman's case.
Let me rewind.
Laptop bag. What?
Let me rewind to Greg Cote returning from a trip and deciding that very evening, I'm going to honor the country I've just been in by cooking a dish from that country. I want to go back to that particular bit of wonderful. How long have you been doing that? And what is the lamest, cheapest shortcut version of that you have done that hasn't been to celebrate the country and it's just because you have to adhere to the particulars of, I do this every time I return from a trip, so I'm going to just fart out an Irish stew?
Oh, it took me all afternoon to make. First of all, just harvesting the meat takes a while. I bought like a big 4-pound.
We don't need the recipe.
roast.
He's asking other examples of you doing this.
Can we do a recipe
So what
of
I
the
do
day?
is I let it marinate. It's like, I didn't ask you that.
By harvesting the meat, you got to cut off the fat.
Yeah.
And that's tough. It's a combination of knife work, kitchen shears.
Other examples.
When I came back from Barcelona,
Thank you.
I had to make a pizza with pineapple on it, only because that's what I tasted over there when I was there for the Olympics.
Wait a minute.
Known Spanish
That's
delicacy.
not
early
I thought he was going to
90s.
say paella. Wait a minute.
Pineapple
though.
on pizza.
But I don't think the pineapple
a second.
pizza is a Spanish
Let's hear
dish.
them out.
I had by the way, I came home from Rome and made paella.
There you go.
I had an Italian paella.
When in Rome.
That's right. In Barcelona, I
Had a Hawaiian pizza. So he
I
came
had a
back
Hawaiian, and
exactly right.
And I don't make many pizzas from scratch, by the way. That's difficult. I admire the
That's
pizza
not
flippers.
that's not a Spanish dish. The pizza with pineapples on
But
it.
he had it in Spain.
I had it
I do
in
that every
Spain.
Friday here.
But he had it in Spain. You guys, what are
Yeah.
you guys not getting?
Exactly.
Making a pizza from scratch sometimes more expensive than just buying a pizza.
It is.
But you have that sense of accomplishment
I know.
afterwards.
It's-
Often tastes like crap, but you have that sense
Yeah,
of
you do.
accomplishment. Yeah.
I keep meaning to buy myself a pizza oven, but I haven't done it yet.
That would be a great 70th birthday present for
It
him,
would.
Dan.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, the first Hawaiian pizza was in Canada.
There you go.
It's not a Spanish
Not Barcelona.
dish. I don't understand.
If I eat it in Spain, it's a Spanish dish.
That's right.
That's not
Yes.
true
If
at
you're
all.
drunk at a bar in
Absolutely
Spain
true.
and you
No.
end up at some pizza shop that has pineapple, oh look, I'm in
Yeah.
Barcelona. Like that's you just got a piece of pizza.
I don't
know.
understand. Okay, not the answer I was expecting my question, but I've got many questions about your vacation. How much of a backseat driver was Erlene, and how mad was she about the fact that you wrecked a rental car?
Yeah, very. Keep in mind, I'm driving on the wrong side of the car on the wrong side of the road. So I'm not used to it's really discombobulating me. It took days to adjust to the fact that I'm doing the opposite of what we get in the States. My whole driving career, I've never driven a car in Europe until this trip. And so it was an adjustment. And so I want to hug the left side so that I don't head on somebody. And my wife must have said 1,000 times, Greg, move over. You're about to hit a wall. You're about to hit a curb. Greg, move over, move over. And it's just so annoying. And
right.
I only hit one wall.
You were hurt.
I drove for 8 days. I hit one wall.
Fairness, one wall.
That's pretty good.
How many did you pass?
100.
Exactly. There you go.
Thank you.
Not even 1%.
Now, I hit a bunch of bushes, though. They have a wall of bushes. And so, and you're driving and you hear the car go thwap, 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 thwap. Because it's hitting all these bushes.
Didn't you clip something in a parking garage, too?
Yeah, we had a minor mishap in a parking garage.
Minor.
You have to drive a Fiat to park in the parking garages in Ireland. They're 6 feet wide. I'm driving an SUV. I have zero chance.
Well, there's your problem. You rented a SUV to drive in a country.
My wife and trip organizer does that for me.
Well, pie chart.
80-20.
That seems
Might
higher
have to
than
take Greg's side on
80-20.
that
Well, she
one.
did rent that.
There you go.
Yeah. It wasn't her fault that the first we got a lemon. We had to go back for it, which caused all the satchel incident.
Really?
But,
Is that so?
yeah.
Stugotz here. I want to tell you a story. I'm serious here. My wife and my 2 daughters, they begged me to buy a Peloton. So I bought a Peloton. And then I watched that Peloton sit in my office and stare at me. So you know what I did one day? I looked at it. And so I decided to get off my ass and I jumped on the Peloton because no one else was using it and I paid for it. I mean, so why not? Then I realized eventually that they bought it for me. And I got to tell you, way more challenging than I could have ever imagined. Peloton coaches are walking the walk. I love the coaches. I do the Grateful Dead one. It's fantastic. They have a sub 3-hour marathon runner, military trained athletes, a former college basketball player, and so many other well-rounded coaches on their team. All this experience really shows in their classes, which are never short of challenging, especially for me. So I jumped on it that first time. It was challenging, more challenging than I thought. And then I wanted to beat the bike, and so I kept jumping on it. And I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm the only one who uses it. But again, they got it for me. I mean, I had no idea. That's a little passive-aggressive, don't you think? Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com. Stugotz here. Right now, my friends over at Simply Safe are extending their massive Black Friday deal for our Le Batard Show listeners. Simply Safe is the home security I trust to keep my home and family safe. I've been telling you that for years. This is your last chance to protect your home at Simply Safe's lowest prices of the year. Simply Safe is a new way to protect your home that stops intruders before they break into your home. Old school systems only take action once someone is already inside your home. That's too late. Simply Safe's Active Guard outdoor protection changes the game by preventing crime before it even happens. Simply Safe is extending its massive Black Friday deal for our listeners. This week only, you can take 50% off any new system with a select professional monitoring plan. This is your last chance to claim their best offer of the year. Head to simplysafe.com/DLB to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this season. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Don Le Batard.
It's been a lovely cruise. Oh, man. That's my outro. That's, as my casket is being lowered.
Jesus.
I'll have been cremated a week before, but we'll do the casket thing just for show. And as my casket is being lowered,
Wait a minute. Whoa.
Empty casket?
It'll
Closed?
be empty. Just for show. We're gonna
Well, what's the redundancy there?
we're going to put on a public display.
Yeah, naturally.
Stugotz.
What do you do with the ashes?
You're going on a lovely cruise.
Exactly. Maybe we'll throw them over. My wife will throw them overboard.
I would
as she's
assume-
necking with her new husband.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
On the pie chart of blame, I will, for those of you who do not listen all the time, I will remind you that Greg Cote, an adult human being, has blamed his wife for not telling him it was cold outside when he wandered out into the cold and could have seen for himself. He
She had been out.
expects his wife to take care of him the way that a mother would take care of a fetus, not a toddler, a fetus. She doesn't trust him with driving for very good reason. He is an old man and his judgment is getting worse and worse, and he thinks it's the same or better. We just got done telling you the story of he locked himself inside of a castle and got into at least 2 accidents and hit a lot of shrubs and is wondering why his wife is telling him 1,000 times, Greg, you're not in the middle of the road. You need to get out of the middle of the road.
Is it possible the castle is also not entirely his fault?
He was sent to...
Yes. That's why they comped our room. There was some, aberration in the lock that prevented me from unlocking my own deadbolt. I'm unscrewing it, doing the work of the maintenance crew. I'm unscrewing my own deadblock.
You got it.
Neither.
Whatever it's called. Deadlock.
Yes, he's falling apart, as I said. He's having a lot of trouble with just speech, thought, and knowing where he is. But, Chris, this part I'm serious about. My father is 10 years older. The last time I drove with my father anywhere was a few years ago. It was Christmas Eve night, Noche Buena. I got in the back seat of a car on a night. This was several years ago, and I'm like, my father shouldn't be driving anymore. I was in the back seat, and I'm like, this is deeply unsafe. What is happening right now? And it's the last time I got in a car with him, and I've been trying to get him a driver since, and it doesn't work. It's absolutely not. You're not. No, I will not. Your father is in worse general shape than my father. He's 10 years younger, but it's been a battering. The Greg Cote experience has been to this vessel of a body for a long time. You're going to have such a hard time, and your mom is going to have such a hard time getting those keys away from him because he thinks this is an aberration, and all it is the beginning. It's the beginning of this.
Two things. Number one, I'll take a driver if you're buying. Number two, this is going to sound like I'm bragging. I'm going to outdrive everybody in these two rooms.
Really?
Okay.
What's your BMI?
I'm a daily driver. Okay. I'm a daily driver, and I haven't had a speeding ticket, just as an example, in who knows how long. Years, plural.
You came back from vacation where you were just hitting shrubs, walls, and things in parking garages.
But he was driving in reverse,
at
essentially.
the speed limit, too.
Exactly. He didn't get a ticket. In Greg's offense, he didn't get a ticket.
Right.
Greg, Lehman and I actually have a system when we're in a place where you have to drive on the left, which is the person in the passenger seat points to the lane that you're turning into, because if you say right, left, and you get confused, and then if you're making a left, it's like a close left and not like a far left, if you're on the right side of the road. So we point to which lane you're turning into.
Yeah, and another thing was everything in kilometers over there, of course. So all of a sudden you're going 100. You see a sign that says the speed limit's 140, and so mentally you're like, I can't go. I don't want to go that fast. When in fact that's probably 80 or whatever the thing is. But fabulous trip, despite all the harrowing.
How was the food?
I would love to go
Awful.
with you next time.
Yeah, we'll bring you along, Jess.
Awful? The food was awful?
It was really bad. It was so mediocre. And everything on the menu is like, beef and Guinness and fish and chips and potatoes and,
shepherd's pie?
There were a couple of topped beef and Guinnesses with the topping.
Why would you feel the need to remember the land you came from with your culinary respect if the food was awful?
I wanted to outdo the Irish at their own dish.
And he said he did. As he's eating it, he's like, this is better than what I had.
Well, listen, your wife, who's hard to please.
Whoa.
A little shy with her compliments. Whoa. What did Christy say about my...
She said it was good.
She said it was good multiple times.
That's actually hilarious because she is critical of your food. Like there are times we leave and she's like, not his best work.
I know.
Really?
Believe me.
I still have Chris's top 5 from the sex therapist here.
Didn't she not like shrimp?
No, she hated my shrimp.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
She's allergic to shellfish.
Yeah, she can get over that.
Yeah.
If you've had my shrimp,
exactly right.
You're going to forget the allergy because it tastes so good.
She's never tried Greg's shrimp.
That's right.
I thought the food in Ireland was great. Where were you
really?
eating? I did. It was phenomenal.
I had the worst steak I've ever had at the Castle Hotel restaurant.
You don't eat at the hotel restaurant. That's just...
Well,
not even if it's a castle.
Yeah. It was a beautiful...
Where else are you going to go?
It was a beautiful restaurant, and they had a nice menu. I ordered a filet. You shouldn't screw up a filet, okay? You give it a nice, crusty, hard sear on the outside, and a beautiful medium on the inside at most, maybe medium shading to medium rare. It was tough. They overcooked it like crazy. In my own country, I'm going to turn that back. Jack. But in Ireland, I played the polite. I didn't want to be the ugly American. I ate it. Now, later at the Shelbourne, one of the great hotels.
Does anyone else hear
Ireland.
that car alarm? As our functions around here continue to fail on the doing of this show.
Chris hit the car alarm button. That's why I didn't.
Only half of you hear it.
I've been hearing a car alarm for 2.5 hours. for 2.5 straight hours.
Stop talking for a second so everyone can hear it.
Terrible for the podcast. No one can hear
I don't hear it.
I mean, we hear it. The audience might
Greg,
hear
do
it.
you
Continue your story, Greg. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it reminds me of the latest Greg Cote Show podcast episode where Christopher, his lawn is being cut as we're recording. So the entire time we're recording, Chris Cote's lawnmower is going in the backyard.
You got a lawn guy, Chris?
I do.
Wow.
You think he's going to cut his own lawn? He didn't know which end of the lawnmower to hold.
That's not true.
So back to the Shelbourne.
The Shelbourne is one of the great hotels in Dublin. In fact, we, I forget how it was, might have been mentioned on the podcast, and I get a text from Dave Barry saying, yeah, we stayed there. Beautiful hotel. They served me one of the great fillets I've ever had in my life. Okay, so you can do it, Ireland, but you just got to be more consistent. My only complaint about Irish food is that it's a lot of the same. You know, the menus all sort of read the same, unless you're at a upscale restaurant, and then they know how to do it.
Well, you never got that authentic
I didn't hear the
Irish
phone go
pizza,
off.
I
That's a
guess.
fine
What
because of the sound your phone just made. You owe
That's
five.
not my phone.
Yeah, it is your phone.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You owe $5. Before we end the segment, Jessica, I meant to ask you something that I'd forgotten to ask you about, because Lucy last week, and you guys can vouch for this, Lucy and Jessica have become very good friends in a way that allows Jessica the great comfort of leaving Willow behind with a friend, and so that she can go places. But Lucy was having a hard time with Willow because Willow, what kind? You just
Pay a fine with a euro?
You can't pay the fine with European money that makes Jessica go convert it at the
Take it.
It's worth more, Dan.
It's $10. What is this worth now? Is it worth $5?
Isn't it? Is it close to 1-to-1 now? Isn't it?
I
Greg?
think it's pretty
You were
close
just
to
there.
1-to-1.
All right. But Jessica, are you aware that Willow was dragging Lucy to ice cream shops and sitting in front of them, and Lucy was unable to move her in any way?
Yeah, I heard about this. I feel terrible about it. Willow does have a little bit of a bully streak in her. She can judge character very well. She can tell if someone's going to be too nice to her, and if she can get away with getting a pup cup. And for some reason, she knows that the ice cream places have pup cups. She's never been to this ice cream place before, but she dragged Lucy there every day, and I feel very bad about it.
She didn't respect Lucy. She could spot that Lucy was a pushover.
She doesn't respect me either, for what it's worth. She
That's
will
not true.
constantly hump my leg when we're home.
Okay, well, that's disrespectful, but she wouldn't have done that to you. You wouldn't have trouble pulling Willow if you were trying to pull Willow.
That's true. I would just drag her down the street. She doesn't, I mean, I wouldn't really do that, because dog owners are listening to this now, and they're going to be like, you're a bad dog owner, which is not true. But I did feel bad because when I came home, I was like, how was Willow? And Lucy was like, well, she could tell that she didn't respect me very much, and it didn't get better throughout the week, and I feel bad.
Lucy's got to get better at that. You shouldn't feel bad. Lucy's got to do, it is the dog caretaker's job to make sure that the dog behaves. The dog wants to behave.
The dog behaves so well with Lehman. The dog loves Lehman. Anything
Kids
Lehman
are the same
says,
way. My wife says the same thing about my daughter, that she does well for me, but when it's just with her, that she turns into this.
I'm not tough enough on her, and I know I need to get better. I need to put some bass in my voice and tell her, bae.
Yeah, Lucy should have been taught the bay call, because I guarantee you that's a beautiful trainer. That's Willow, right? Mm-hmm. It's a handsome dog. You go, bae, and they're going to do that thing where the ears go out a little bit and the head cocks.
Maybe the head
That's
tilt.
what you want, because that's the dog listening to you when the head cocks like that. Mm-hmm.
It's the holidays. People are shopping for great gifts. One of the great gifts that I always like depending on is something experiential, like going to a sporting event. There's nothing like it, especially when the stakes are ratcheted up high, especially when it's a game that everybody wants to go to. Well, sometimes those games are sold out, and you have no other option than to go to the secondary market. Well, go to the industry leader. That's right. For my money, it is the absolute best one out there, Game Time. And guess what? Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better. And it makes for the perfect gift. People listen to me when I say that. And they have this amazing new feature, Game Time Picks. With Game Time Picks, it helps to make curation easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And it's got that beautiful toggle option, all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows up the total amount up front. No surprise fees at checkout. That is huge. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
Don Batard.
It's the classic first ballot Hall of Famer, the musical fart, okay, where it can be a creaking door, right. It can be an orchestra tuning up before a concert, and the bassoon is a little bit off key, and it comes out like that.
Stugotz.
The musical fart. It's a beauty. It is a beauty. Me. Sorry. Shit.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Under the circumstances, I will say, with Stugotz sabotaging us from beyond and Greg Cote sabotaging us while sitting in Stugotz's chair, under the circumstances, we have slapped together a show that talked a little too much, but ignored Heat Summer League championships with Jeremy and Mike Ryan not here to the reprieve of the audience. But Greg Cote just got done harumphing under his breath after many years doing this. He'd forgotten about the stamina it takes to get back in the chair when you've had a month off, and he doesn't know where he's been, by his own admission, for about the last 70 minutes. He's been disoriented. He's throwing a bodega over here.
Bodega.
And he's
hitting shrubs over there.
It's a fine.
He gave me €10.
But he does it. What is happening, Chris? Let's examine for just a moment. There have been a lot of obstacles around. Microphones breaking, car alarms going off, video falling apart. Stuff's happened that has caused chaos around here today, and we've slapped something together. But also, your father, there have been times I feel like that he's not remembering he's on air. Like he's just like, hey, Ron, I'll send you a text the way you would if you were leaving the office, just sort of forgetting that he's performing in front of a lot of people.
Yeah, that bag over there. Like stuff like that.
Well, the video, no, look, your father's never going to get the part that this is now a video production as well, and he's never going to get the part. I prefer, actually, that your father only think of this as an audio product and we stop.
Should be.
Yeah, I'm fine with that portion of it. But it's when he doesn't know that he's on video or audio and just sort of forgets that he needs to come up with a sentence of thought.
If he knew he's on audio, to give more context. Like, that's him not knowing he's on audio. He just thinks he's only on video. He's the worst.
It's strange that your father, after this many years doing this, approaches 70 years old and lacks some of the general fundamentals of remembering when he's broadcasting.
Well, that's a different thing, though, because, you go from newspapering to radio. And
to a nap.
And the original incarnation of the podcast was an audio only. And so now the video element, it's confusing.
But you're in a studio with a lot of lights, and we're clearly all in front of microphones performing something.
But Dan, you do get rusty, and also you forget sometimes how bright the lights are. They hurt your head a little bit. Like I can barely look up right now without, I feel this migraine coming on. I know Greg probably feels the same way.
Very, very bright. Unnecessarily bright.
All right, let's turn off all the lights, guys, if you can.
They're kind of necessary.
Do you think you'd be better?
Let's make them comfortable.
Do you think? Okay, let's turn it off. Let's see if it gets any better here. Just let's see how this goes.
All right. Baby, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, let my boy cook. Go ahead, Dad.
All right, no, I mean this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I'm walking into my bedroom closet.
Whoa.
I'm surrounded by. You remember the first podcast I ever did with the Greg Cote show was in my closet. Because back then I thought all of the sound would have a great sound room by doing it among all my closet. My wife's clothes take up literally 70% of that closet.
Pie chart, yeah.
Always been unfair. But anyway, I love it in here right now. This is how it should be.
Yeah.
I have a ghostly quality there as well, which is perfect.
Ooh, a scary story? You got any?
No. Hell no.
Way to play the improv game.
I don't tell scary stories.
No.
My life is a scary story, believe me. Oh, I like that. The silhouette. Look at Dan. Wow. Look at him.
Can you see my wrath in the silhouette?
He looks thin. He looks thin.
Can you see how much rage is in my face in the silhouette?
That is thinning.
The general darkness of concealing all of me?
Right. Let me look dark. Why can't I do that?
Well, your laptop's giving you light.
Your
Why don't you
laptop,
close
oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, close
Hang
that
on,
up a
hang
little
on
bit.
just a second.
Yeah, hold on.
There.
But now you got to move in front of the screen so that you can see your profile. Yeah, or maybe switch camera shots. Yeah, from the side or something. Hold on.
Yeah,
a
I
second.
got this.
Just go.
Wait.
There you go.
Right, okay.
There it is. Oh,
There you go.
Hitchcockian.
Now that's television. Or YouTube, whatever the hell we're on.
I can't tell
What
if-
channel is this? Channel 4, 7, or 10?
Usually I can read how this is going based off Dan's face, and I can't see it right now. So I don't know if he's like enjoying this or he's crying. I don't know what Dan's doing.
Let's
right
keep
now.
it that way.
I like it. This is much easier on the eyes.
It
I feel
is.
good right now.
Yeah, it's invigorating.
Yeah.
Greg, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When you go on vacation, I assume that you're like me. You're not responding to emails and work texts while you're gone. When you get back, how long will you push it before you start replying to people that you need to talk to who tried to message you during your break?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm still not getting email on my new phone. I got to get that taken care of.
Oh, no.
But the texts kept coming. I'll give them a glance. I mean, I look at the texts every day, that kind of thing. But I don't answer all of them. The work-related texts, they know better than to text me. Hugo from Mango calls me, texts me, about the deadline on the back of my days and everything. So we get back to him. But for the most part, man, when I'm on vacation, I am on vacation. Okay, I'm doing it up. I'm leaving work behind.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for dimly lit places like this, which is another reason it's beautiful. It reminds me of vacation.
Can you turn the light towards Dan a little so I can get a read on him? Because I'm terrified right now.
Do you come back reinvigorated, Greg?
I do, but you know what, Billy? I've never been on a vacation that I wasn't glad ended.
Really?
Yeah, it's true. Especially the longer the vacation. Like if I'm away 7-8 days, by that 6th or 7th day, I'm looking at the watch I never wear, symbolically to say I'm done. We've had a good time. I'm ready to get back into my routine. I'm a creature of habit. I'm a creature of routine.
Do you miss your bed? Like you miss your bed at home?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Do you miss Chris?
Yeah, somewhat.
He misses bed. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Jumpin'
I do.
Charlie?
Jumpin' Charlie, I miss.
What was old JC up to?
We bored him.
Oh.
No, wow. That is, they send him to like some lady's house.
Right.
It's like the best. He's like, I get pictures from my mom all the time. Like, look how much fun Charlie's having.
Oh, man.
I can only imagine how much they charge you for that.
It's a fair amount of
You
money.
come back and he's like, shit.
You know what? He exerts himself so much on his vacation at this woman's house that he's like a zombie for the first couple of days he comes back. But when I saw a picture of Willow on that picnic table, it warmed my heart because dogs love to jump on top of picnic tables.
They really
don't they?
do. Yes, she loves to sit on a table, and we're like, get off! Like this is unhygienic.
And Charlie
She
does
doesn't
that, and the woman who's hosting him always texts us photos of Charlie at play.
It's so funny because my mom is always like, she loves Charlie so much, and I'm like, Mom, she tells everybody that she loves their dog.
No. Right.
Like
You're
as if this
paying
lady,
her.
No.
this lady that's charging $2,000 for the weekend is gonna be like, your dog's a real piece of shit.
She is kind, though.
My mom's like, no, she likes her the best. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm like, Mom.
Well, Charlie has such a beautiful disposition.
Yeah.
She really is. That's why you can't stay angry at her. Him, whatever. Charlie is a name that can work both ways.
Yeah, but
Dan, just say something.
Didn't there used to be
This is terrifying.
a perfume called Charlie?
I think so. Let me look it up.
Yeah, I think there was.
Brought summer.
Aimed at women, if I remember correctly. Is Dan awake?
I had a dog named Charlie once.
Did you?
Yeah.
I
He
heard
bit me.
I heard that is the most popular dog's name, and it
Really?
shocked me. Yeah, it shocked me.
Huh.
I almost
Really
don't believe it.
unoriginal, Greg.
Well, I named my kids Christopher and Michael. I mean, how original are we?
Revlon makes a Charlie Blue for women.
Hello. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Oh, Greg, I missed you.
Thank you, Jess. I missed you too. We'll take you next time we go to Ireland.
I was going to say that. Let's go together.
She invited
go together.
She
It'd be
invited to the
great.
birthday, or
I think that's a pretty good chance.
This is
of
a
that.
new and improved Dan Le Batard show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
Feliz Navidad, everybody. Merry Christmas. Christmas week is upon us. And many of you are hosting family gatherings, having friends over for the holidays, and you're wondering, how do I make this holiday time a special time? Well, you make the holiday time a special time by making it Miller time. That's right, a beer with taste that you know you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just great beer for people who like beer. You put out the Miller Lite, you set it, you forget it, and everybody is all happy during the holiday season. You'll take that first sip, and you'll know right away you made the right call. Whether it's around the fire pit or around the kahachina, you know that Miller Lite is going to hit the spot because Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers with simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and that iconic golden color. The original light beer since 1975 and still the best one. Making memories at year-end gatherings tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan. Find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer. It's the holidays. People are shopping for great gifts. One of the great gifts that I always like depending on is something experiential, like going to a sporting event. There's nothing like it, especially when the stakes are ratcheted up high, especially when it's a game that everybody wants to go to. Well, sometimes those games are sold out, and you have no other option than to go to the secondary market. Well, go to the industry leader. That's right, for my money, it is the absolute best one out there, Game Time. And guess what? Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better. And it makes for the perfect gift. People listen to me when I say that. And they have this amazing new feature, Game Time Picks. With Game Time Picks, it helps to make curation easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And it's got that beautiful toggle option, all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows up the total amount up front. No surprise fees at checkout. That is huge. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.